Being creative in art can mean a lot of different things and is always at the top of an artist's mind when they create their own art. This can especially negatively affect beginner artists whose minds and skills are still being molded by a deluge of tutorials, do's and don'ts, and lack of confidence in their own skill level. But don't be fooled. Even skilled professionals who have worked for decades can still doubt their own creativity and their own approach to art. No one is invulnerable to these thoughts. Some artists may find the drawing process tedious and boring and may prefer coloring. Others may find the sketch phase the most energetic and fun, but the refinement portion bores them to tears and prevents them from dedicating their utmost attention to finishing the art piece. Maybe one person prefers chaotic painting, splashing it all over the canvas and picking and choosing from that. On the opposite side, maybe an artist hates the sketching side of art and prefers refinement. Some artists trace partially or completely. Some may only draw from imagination. The point is, there are as many ways to be creative as there are stars in the universe or as grains of sand on planet Earth. Worrying about how creative you are or how creative you can be is a snake eating its own tail conundrum. As long as you are making art, you are being creative. Full stop. No ifs, ands, or buts. Unless you are actively stealing others' artworks and claiming them for yourself, or not crediting other artists. How I approach being creative is very different from other artists. I prefer the refinement side of drawing and not so much the drawing from imagination or reference portion. I have not made it a secret that I do utilize tracing to a certain degree to help with my drawings. When it comes to portrait and bodies, I'll trace the overlying landmarks and shapes to help me better when I tackle the subject at hand. I do not completely trace the image, as that ruins the fun for me, but things such as the eyes, nose, mouth, cheekbones, etc. is what I make guidelines for when drawing. If I'm having trouble with body perspective, I'll draw over the body with boxes to understand how I should approach it. When it comes to drawing everyday objects like I do on my Saturday art streams, I draw from reference, mainly from Pinterest with no tracing involved, but the part I enjoy most is the refinement portion. I'm a big fan of pen and ink drawings, whether that's with a micron, ballpoint pen, black marker, etc. Anything black and white is what I prefer and is what I studied for the entirety of my almost 4 years of drawing. Hatching, cross-hatching, curved hatching, stippling, scribbling, scumbling, etc. A lot of people find it tedious, hand-hurting, and not worth the effort. I love taking the time to shade everything by hand, as it looks better in my eyes than just a flat shade of black from a marker. I love the way curved hatching accentuates the curves on a hand, on a cheekbone, on a round object. I love the way diamond shapes of white pop out from the two-tone and up hatching technique. I love the messiness of scribbling and the grid-like appearance of dots when stippling. When shading with these techniques, you view objects not with lines, but with shadow, just like in real life, and it requires a good eye for 3D shapes and a semi-steady hand that can be trained with practice. I've messed with color, with airbrush shading, with flat blacks, and digital drawing, but the best way to draw for me is my mechanical and ballpoint in hand, chipping away at a drawing. That's to say, shading in the overall refinement process is what I prefer to do when drawing, and this is how I show my creativity. How I approach the shadows and shapes, the curves, the flats, how I handle my pen and pencil, the techniques I use, they all come together to make my own art style, and they all come together to push my own version of creativity. Other artists similarly have their own likes and dislikes and how they view the topic of creativity. I've gone through my own journey of self-doubt and introspection. I've frequently gone many nights thinking about whether I should stop drawing or not, whether or not I'm creative enough, whether I'm skilled enough to draw. After much thought and diagnosis about my art, I eventually came to the conclusion that it doesn't really matter that much whether I'm creative or not, and whatever the definition of that word is. I have fun when drawing. I have people who like my art, who like my videos, who learn from me, and who I learn from. I'm inspired by all sorts of media, and in turn, hopefully someone is inspired by my own media. That's what it means to do art, and that's what it means to be creative. To create is to be creative. It's the basis of the word after all. Hopefully, you'll find your own answer to the question, and that my videos have helped even a minuscule amount. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you wish to support my artwork and my videos, all my social media and payment/tipping links are in my profile. More videos and artwork will come regardless. I wish you guys well on your own art journeys. Goodbye for now.